right, ladies, as promised, here is a follow-up to the class we had. I am going to throw in a couple things we didn't get to this week. So we're going to start there. We're actually going to start with talking about some skin prep. Before we start with our base, really make sure you moisturize. You know, if your face is moisturized, the makeup will adhere nicely. You won't have any patches, things like that. So if you have a skincare that works for you, good, go for it. If you need some recommendations, this brand you can get at Target. They have both a dry line and, combo to oily. They work really good and they're pretty affordable. You also need to make sure that you use a primer, preferably like a gripping primer, which helps make the makeup stick better. This is a good one that's pretty affordable. It's the e.l.f. Power Grip. That is kind of what you want to start to prep your face, and then go ahead and do your foundation. Maya already has her foundation on and her concealer. So we're going to start with, I know some girls had questions when I was there about contour. So, you can use any kind of contour product that you have or that works best for you. You can use like a liquid one, a cream one. We like this one here from Milani. So that's what I'm going to use today on Maya. But with your contour, you want to, suck in your cheeks, and you kind of get this like hollow of your cheek here. That is where you want to concentrate your contour. You want to create shadows on your face that kind of sculpt your face. So we're going to kind of do it where it naturally is. So here, we're going to take some of our product, and we're going to just from the middle of our cheek up to our hairline. We're not going to go all the way towards our mouth. We're not going to go too high up towards our eye, and we're not going to go and try to drag it down. You want it to go straight from the middle of your cheek on up and into the hairline and blend. Do not blend and drag down. You want to blend it kind of upwards to where you kind of have now a sculpted cheek. And then you can add a little bit along the top of your hairline, again into your hair. You don't want to drag it down your face. And along your jawline. So right along your jawline, you can add a little and just really make sure you blend so that you don't have this great big harsh line. So here is contour. So next we're going to talk about blush and blush placement. So the e.l.f. Caribbean is your blush. You can use a dense brush. Maya likes this one we got that's a little paw print, but just a thick, dense brush, or you can use your finger, whatever is easier for you. But again, start light, always build. You don't want to go too much in the beginning. So turn your face for me. And blush, you're going to smile, and you want to get a little on the apple of your cheek, and then you want to stay kind of above the top of your contour. You don't want to go all the way on top of your contour and make it disappear. Again, you don't want it to go all the way down, and you don't want it to go all the way to your nose, but you also don't want it to go all the way up to your eyes. So you're going to just start on the apples of your cheeks, and then you're going to dab, or stipple as this is called. You do not want to swipe really hard. You want to dab it on so that it's a more softer blend versus like a harsh stripe. So all the way, and then you just keep adding until you get to the desired intensity that you want. Now remember, you guys are on stage or on a floor. You do want to be able to see it up there, but you also don't want to literally look like you have stripes on your face. But blush placement. Now for eyes, you're going to need a couple of different brushes. You need a big fluffy blending brush. You need a smaller dense brush. You can use a flat thin brush and then a small angled brush. Those are the brushes that work best for this look. So the first color we're going to use in your Milani palette is this lighter orange shade right here. So you're going to take a little bit of that on your brush, and you are going to find your brow bone, and you want to go right on top of the bone into your crease. You don't want to go all the way up into your eyebrow, and you don't want to go all the way down to your lash line. You want to stick to right in that crease and then a little above it on your brow bone. So close your eye for me. And you're just going to kind of stipple it on, just like we did with our blush, and then blend back and forth and in small circles until you have the color blended out nicely. Again, you don't want any harsh lines where, you know, the color sticks to one side or the other. And if you find that the color isn't quite showing up on your eyelids in the same way that you want it to, you might need to use some primers. Let me show you some primers real quick. You can open your eye. A couple of different eye primers. You can just use concealer and powder. Sometimes that works. But if you are struggling, you may want to use a couple of these different products. These are ones that I had on hand, so they're higher end. If you want a cheaper option, I think e.l.f. makes some really affordable options, but this Milk Hydro Grip eye primer works really well, as well as KVD has this little liquid called Shake Primer. That works really well as well. But again, like I said, I believe e.l.f. has some affordable options. I just have not used them. But okay, back to the eye look here real quick. So we're just going to make sure that when you open that eye, open your eye, you can still see that color above your lid. So go ahead and we're going to do the other eye here. Next, you're going to take that same brush and we're going to take a little bit of this slightly darker orange shade. Again, a little goes a long way. You can always add more. And we're going to go more into the crease this time. So we're going to make sure that we're not all the way up to the top. We still want that lighter shade to be at the top. So close your eyes. We're going to go right into the crease and just add it to add a little bit more dimension, just a little darker. Right through. And same thing on this side, just right through to make it a little bit darker. Okay, here we go, open up. There we go. And then we're going to take that shorter, denser eyeshadow brush, and we're going to use the darkest brown in the shade, or in the palette. And what we're going to do is, close your eyes for me. We're going to concentrate on the outer third of our eye. And we're going to go just up into the crease color, the orange colors up here, down to our lash line, and then out, almost creating like a triangle over here. And then this is just going to give us some extra dimension. It's going to kind of create that more of a sculpted, lifted eye. So just on this outer edge, we're going to create that. There we go. Just like that. Next, we are going to take the flat brush. Some girls prefer to use their finger. That works as well. But we're going to take the gold glittery shade in here. What works best is if you spray the brush a little bit to get it wet. I use a fixing spray, but you can use just water too. And that helps the glitter kind of stick to the brush a little bit better, and it helps with like fallout, and it helps get the color you're trying to achieve just a little bit better. But what we're going to do now is we're going to start in the inner corner along the lash line, just to where that brown shade starts, and then across the lid. So we're not going to go all the way up to our brow bone. We're not going to go past the orange. We're not going to go past the brown. We're just kind of doing these 2/3 of our lid. And we're going to apply the gold. Again, some people, the finger works the best. I just don't want to poke Maya in the eyeball with my long lashes. So, there we go. And then if you feel like you've gone too far into your brown, you just can go back with a little bit more and blend the two so that it's a seamless blend from glitter to dark brown. Next, we're going to do the under eyes. Maya likes to do it herself, but you're going to use the thin angled brush, and you're going to use that dark brown shade again. And you are going to go along your lash line as close to your lashes as possible. You don't want to go in your eye. You don't want to get it too low so you look like you have raccoon eyes, but just a little all along your bottom lash line, all the way across. Okay, now we are going to do the wing liner. We're going to review the method that I showed the girls in the class using a liquid liner. There's also a method you can use with using beauty tape or scotch tape, which I'll show you today. And then some of the girls used stamps in the previous years. Stamps like this, where it's a stamp on one end and a liner on the other. Sometimes those stamps give you a really kind of thick wing, like a big chunky triangle, which on some of our smaller eyeballs don't always look the best. So I did find a new eyeliner stamp. I can link it below, that has kind of a thinner wing to it. You can see here on my hand, it's not quite as thick and triangle-y. And then it has both stamps on each and the left and the right. And when you're doing your opposite dominant hand, it twists to make it a little easier to apply. The one thing though that with this is you will still need a separate liquid liner. I'm not going to show that today, but that is an option for those who like stamps. That's a really good option. But for today, we're going to show the method that I talked about in class, and then we're going to use beauty tape as well. So what we're going to do is take your liquid liner. Again, these felt tips work best for this particular method. And what you're going to do is you're going to line up your liner with your bottom lash. Your eye for me, look up. And then you're just going to lay it and just tap with the tip of the felt tip, and it starts to create your wing look. Close your eye for me. Then we're going to connect that to our lash line here. And we're just going to do small little strokes all the way across the eye. Keep your eye closed for me. And it's easier to go small little strokes than trying to draw a straight line all the way across your face. And then if we want a more dramatic wing, what you can do is extend this line a little bit if you want. And here's kind of what I talked about in class. So if you start at the middle of this little wing and you try to connect it to, keep your eye closed for me, connect it to the middle of your lashes, that's how you get just that slightly thicker wing that's just a tad more dramatic and a little longer. So that is the way that we did it in class. Now, excuse me, now for the other side, we're going to show using the beauty tape. So if you take a piece of the beauty tape and line it up in the same way that we did on the other eye with the bottom lash line. Maya hates the tape, so forgive the dirty look there. Okay. And attach it and just make sure it's at that same angle. And the nice thing about this is if you make a mistake and you get it on the tape, you're just going to pull it right off and it won't, you don't have to wipe it off and try over again. So you can draw that wing right along that edge of the tape. There you go. And then same thing, we're just going to draw kind of across our lid. Little swipes all the way. Again, the smaller little flicks, it's easier than trying to draw one great big long line. I think our eyeliner is drying out too, so it's not helping us here. All right, look at me. There we go. Found a little more life in it there. little flicks. Keep your eye closed, please. Okay. And then you can do the same thing if you want a more dramatic wing. We can extend it just a little here. And then I start at the middle of that wing and draw a line to the middle of our lash line and just kind of fill that triangle we just created in. And so then when you go to remove the tape, you'll have a clean winged line. There you go, good job. And finally, for lashes, you can use tweezers to hold your lashes and help apply them. Use your fingers, whatever works for you, whatever you feel more comfortable with. Remember, the way to figure out what side of your lash goes towards your inner lash or your inner eye, if you don't have them marked between left and right on your container, it's the ones with the smaller lashes go towards the inner, the long lashes go towards the outer of your eye. Sometimes you may need to cut the long end off if you have a set that's too long for your eyeball. So you kind of want to, close your eye for me, kind of measure it, make sure that it fits the shape of your eye. If you have smaller eyes, they make these 3/4 length ones, which are already kind of fit to the right size for some smaller eyes. So Maya, we used a 3/4 length because those work better for her. And then you're just going to add a thin layer of glue along the lash band. And make sure you definitely get enough on that inner corner because that's the one that likes to come up more often. Just make sure the 2 outer edges have just enough. And you just have to wait and let it kind of get tacky. So 15 seconds-ish. You wait for it to get tacky. You can blow on it. You can shake it around, wave it around, blow on it, whatever. But what you want to do when you apply, once it's dry, is go straight towards your eyeball. Don't try to do the inner or outer first. Just go straight into the eye first. Kind of hold it and give it a second to adhere. And then you can take your tweezers or your fingers and push the inner and outer along. You can smush your lashes together. And then why I like this one is because it is easy to shape to the eye and it rocks back and forth. Except this time it actually stuck to my tweezers. Okay, so we're going to do that again, straight in and then attach to our inner and our outer. Okay, open your eye. How's that feel? All right, let's do the other eye. Okay, and Maya just applied a little bit of mascara to her bottom lashes. And this is the final eye look and face. The only thing we just didn't add is your lipstick because we don't have your lipstick shades, but go ahead and apply those as you need. And if anybody has any questions, you can give me a shout out, or I'm sure one of your fabulous coaches would be able to help. All right, thanks guys. We can't wait to watch you.